Welcome to the channel, I'm Hayes. I talk movies all day, sometimes I talk about games, so subscribe right now if you want to be entertained. And today, I want to talk about The Ascent. Now for clarity, I'm not talking about what happens when you die. Well, not for all of you, but you know. I'm talking about the 2021 indie developed game by Neon Giants. So this is an action RPG that's set in a cyberpunk environment. The general story is that you play as a character of your creation that travels to Velez seeking out a better life. But apparently getting to Velez isn't too easy, and the only way you can do it is by agreeing to work in Foxconn-like conditions for the company that's bringing you over. And in this case, the company that brings you over is called The Ascent. Well, The Ascent Group really, but you know. Now, as if that wasn't bad enough, when you get there, you soon find out that things aren't quite what you agree, so you end up doing these GTA missions for a stack boss who gets you to do some administrative tasks. You know, going to places, finding stuff out, relieving people of the burden of breathing. Story-wise, it's pretty solid. It's pretty clear on what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that might sound obvious, but I find with some RPGs and other large-scope games that it can sometimes be overwhelming in the amount of information they give you at once, to the point where I don't really know what's going on. I just know I'm supposed to go kill some guy for some reason. Now The Ascent does have a lot going on and at times can feel a little bit overwhelming too, but I found for the most part that details of the story and the surrounding world came at a sustainable rate for me. Plus the menu makes it pretty easy to keep track of things as well. I especially found the lore section helpful for learning more about the game, and from there you can tell they put a lot of energy into creating a full-on world. Now look, maybe somebody out there is saying, well, that's all pretty standard for RPGs. Maybe, I don't know, I don't play a lot of RPGs because like I said, they can be overwhelming. Plus they have a tendency to just long out everything, and man, I ain't got time for that, fam. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I think this is a good RPG for people who don't normally play RPGs. Because even if you don't have time for some 10-hour play session, whenever you do get time for it, there's plenty of ways they can refresh your memory on what's happened. Gameplay's pretty solid too. The camera has a League of Legends angle for the most part, but mixes it up every now and then just to keep you on your toes. The camera angle and the controls work pretty well together. Though in the beginning I was finding out I would often get stuck in a corner during shootouts because I'd be behind something and couldn't see what was going on. But eventually realized you can just dodge right out of those situations, and then it weren't so bad. But it's not all shotguns and leather jackets. Cyberpunk games seem to be developing a habit for having problems. Now I play this on Xbox One, PC through Xbox Game Pass, and Xbox Cloud Gaming. The Xbox One and the PC versions crashed a lot, like a lot. And on top of that, there was a weird glitch that would come up during side missions sometimes, where the arrow that was supposed to show you where to go leads you to nowhere. Okay, but then why are you leading me to that door? Because apparently the person is right here and I don't see nobody. You be following this arrow sometimes for ages, going through all kinds of enemies, and when you get to where it's taking you, nothing. Like literally nothing. Maybe there's supposed to be something, but there isn't. Even after restarting the game, it would still leave that same nothingness of a place. So I changed the mission to do something else, and the arrow leads me to the exact same nothing place that it already led me to before. And there's still nothing. I changed the mission again, and it's still leading me to the same place. And there's still nothing. It would only be after getting a cab to another part of town that the arrow started to lead me to somewhere else. Presumably the right place, but I kept dying along the way, so screw it. Let me just stick to the main missions for now. Oh wait, there's supposed to be something here. It just hasn't looked. Oh mate, really? There's actually supposed to be something here that hasn't loaded. I had the least amount of technical issues playing on Xbox Cloud Gaming, which runs off the Xbox Series X, which leads me to think that the Series X is the best way to play it if you don't have Xbox Cloud Gaming. But I can't confirm that, and it could also depend on your PC specs. I'm still running the GTX 1080. It was state of the art when I got it. I mean, it's still good now, but Yeah. Also, bear in mind that Xbox Cloud Gaming is largely going to depend on your internet connection. And as much as they like to tout that you can play high-end games on a basic machine, truth is the Xbox Cloud Gaming experience is also dependent on your hardware as well. Now, you don't need a beast of a machine, but you are going to need something that is at least not shit. And even then, you still might run into some problems, but that's a whole nother video. And although the information in the menus was great, the menu design, however, not so much. They used a lot of red and thin black writing, which made it hard to see. The menu navigation is awkward, especially when trying to move around the map. I was forever backing out unintentionally. Now granted, some of that stuff you can get used to over time, but how is it the game looks like it was designed by KFC, but the menu looked like it was designed by McDonald's? Anyway, all in all, I'd say the general game experience is pretty awesome. I can see this being the type of game that many people can become hardcore fans of, especially as it goes deep into the story behind the story. And I think it's definitely worth checking out. For those of you with Xbox Game Pass, you have nothing to lose. Well, except for time. Especially if it does crash and you've got to restart, or if it just leads you to the wrong place, now you've got to go all the way back. But aside from that, and if you don't have Xbox Game Pass, I do think it's worth the asking price. Though it's probably best you don't keep a swear jar nearby. You will go broke. But that's what I think of the Ascent. What do you think of the Ascent? Let me know down below, and while you're there, be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a suggestion if you don't mind.